It happened on a quiet Sunday morning. The sun had just broken through the blinds, painting soft lines across the living room floor. I was walking toward the kitchen, same path I'd taken every day for years, and then it happened. My foot caught on nothing. No rug, no wire, no toy, just air. Before I could even blink, the room tilted sideways. The coffee cup in my hand slipped, and I went down hard. My shoulders slammed into the floor, and the sound of ceramic shattering echoed around me. For a few seconds, I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the pain to pass. But the pain wasn't the worst part. It was the realization that I had fallen, in my own home, for no reason at all. Linda came running in from the kitchen, her eyes wide with fear. "George, are you okay?" I wanted to say yes, to joke it off, but my pride had cracked just as loudly as that cup. I sat up slowly, rubbing my shoulder, trying to understand what had just happened.
It happened on a quiet Sunday morning. The sun had just broken through the blinds, painting soft lines across the living room floor. I was walking toward the kitchen, same path I'd taken every day for years. And then it happened. My foot caught on nothing. No rug, no wire, no toy, just air. Before I could even blink, the room tilted sideways. The coffee cup in my hand slipped, and I went down hard. My shoulder slammed into the floor, and the sound of ceramic shattering echoed around me. For a few seconds, I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the pain to pass. But the pain wasn't the worst part. It was the realization that I had fallen in my own home for no reason at all. Linda came running in from the kitchen, her eyes wide with fear. "George, are you okay?" I wanted to say yes, to joke it off, but my pride had cracked just as loudly as that cup. I sat up slowly, rubbing my shoulder, trying to understand what had just happened. There was no dizziness, no blackouts, just this strange weakness in my legs, as if they had forgotten how to hold me. For weeks, I had noticed little things, stumbling on steps, wobbling when turning quickly, grabbing the door frame more often than I used to. But I kept brushing it off. I told myself it was just part of getting older. Everyone slows down after 60, right? But lying there on that cold floor, with my wife's trembling hands helping me up, something deep inside me whispered, "This isn't just age." The next morning, my shoulder ached, but my pride hurt worse. I kept replaying the fall in my head. How could I lose balance so easily? Why did my legs feel heavy, like they didn't belong to me anymore? That's when I decided I needed answers, because if this was what aging looked like, I wasn't ready to accept it yet.
The days after the fall felt different. Even walking across the room made me nervous. Every step felt like a question. Will I make it this time? I found myself reaching for furniture, holding onto walls that I'd walked past effortlessly for years. One morning, I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror. I was standing hunched, shoulders forward, as if my body was trying to protect itself from the ground. That's when it hit me. Fear had quietly moved in, and it was stealing more from me than the fall ever did. Linda tried to stay positive. "Maybe you just need rest," she said. But deep down, I knew rest wasn't the answer. Because even after a good night's sleep, my legs felt like they were made of wet sand. Each morning, the simple act of standing up felt like climbing a hill with no top. One evening, while sitting on the porch, I watched my neighbor, Tom, 68, still mowing his lawn like a teenager. I used to do that.
I used to love feeling the sun on my back, the smell of fresh-cut grass. But now even the thought of pushing that mower made my knees ache. I decided it was time to see my doctor. Maybe there was something wrong. A nerve issue, low blood pressure, maybe arthritis. Anything that could explain why my body felt unstable. When I walked into Dr. Patel's office, he looked at me with that calm, knowing expression. "Tell me what's been happening, George." So I did. The fall, the weakness, the fear. He listened quietly, typing occasionally, then asked me to stand, walk, turn, and close my eyes. And when I did, I felt it again, that strange sway like the ground was slightly tilted. Dr. Patel caught my arm gently before I stumbled. "You've lost some of your balance reflex," he said softly. "It could be a number of things: muscle loss, vitamin deficiency, or even nerve slowdown." Then he smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry, George. We'll find out what's going on." He ordered some blood tests and balance evaluations. I nodded, trying to sound calm, but inside I felt a wave of frustration. I had always been strong, worked with my hands, lifted heavy things, stayed active. And now I needed help just to walk straight. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing the echo of his words. Muscle loss, nerve slowdown. Was this really happening to me? Had my body quietly shutting down while I wasn't paying attention? At 3 a.m, I got up and stood in front of the mirror again. I lifted one foot, trying to balance. I wobbled. Then I tried the other. Same thing. It wasn't pain that scared me this time. It was the realization that I no longer trusted my own legs. The next day, Linda placed her hand on mine and said softly, "We'll get through this, George." Her voice gave me courage. Whatever this was, I was going to fight it. Because losing balance wasn't just physical. It was losing independence. And that I wasn't ready to give up.
A few days later, the phone rang. It was Dr. Patel. "George, I have your test results. Can you come in today?" His tone was calm, but serious enough to make my stomach twist. When I sat down in his office, he turned the monitor toward me. "Your blood work shows you're low in 2 key things, vitamin D and vitamin B12. He paused, watching my expression. "Both are crucial for balance, muscle strength, and nerve function. Without them, the body starts to lose its sense of where it is in space." I blinked, confused. "You mean vitamins did this?" He nodded. "It happens more often than you'd think, especially in older adults. Our skin stops making enough vitamin D from sunlight, and B12 absorption slows down with age." He pulled up a chart showing tiny nerves running through the legs and feet. "When these nerves don't get what they need, your brain receives weaker signals. That's why you feel unstable. It's not just in your head, George. It's in your cells." I sat there quietly, letting his words sink in. Something so small, so simple, was causing all this fear, all this imbalance. It felt unbelievable, almost unfair. He continued, "We'll start you on supplements, and I'll refer you to a physical therapist who specializes in balance recovery. But it's going to take consistency. Think of this as rebuilding a foundation." That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. How many people my age were living like this? Dizzy, weak, afraid to move, not knowing their bodies were just craving something simple. A little more sunlight, a few key nutrients,
a reason to move again. The next morning, I sat by the window and watched the sunlight spill across the floor. For the first time in weeks, I didn't fear it. I opened the door and stepped outside barefoot, letting the warmth hit my skin. It wasn't just light. It felt like healing. Linda joined me, smiling softly. "You look better today," she said. I nodded. Maybe I just needed a little sunshine and a reminder that my body still wants to fight for me. In that moment, I realized losing balance wasn't a punishment. It was a warning, a gentle nudge from life, saying, "You've still got time, George, but you have to start listening."
Recovery didn't happen overnight. It began with small, trembling steps, literally. Dr. Patel had recommended a balance therapist named Claire. She was patient, gentle, and never let me quit. The first session was humbling. She asked me to stand on one foot, and I almost toppled. But instead of feeling embarrassed, I felt something new, determination. Claire smiled. "Don't fight the wobble, George. Learn from it." Every morning after that, I practiced, holding the kitchen counter, then the back of a chair, then finally, nothing at all. Each second of balance felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. At the same time, I started my vitamin plan: B12 drops under the tongue, a daily dose of vitamin D, and walks in the sunlight every afternoon. The first few days were tiring, but after 2 weeks, I noticed it. My steps felt firmer, my heart lighter. It wasn't magic. It was science meeting hope. One morning, Linda called from the kitchen, "You're walking straighter today." I laughed, surprised by how natural it felt to just move without fear. The living room that once looked like a danger zone now looked like what it truly was: home. Claire kept pushing me further: stairs, balance boards, even light weights. Each challenge was a test of trust, not strength. And one sunny afternoon, she asked me to close my eyes and walk 5 steps forward. I did, and for the first time, I didn't wobble. I opened my eyes, smiling like a kid. Claire clapped. "There it is," she said softly. "That's your balance coming back." That evening, I took Linda's hand and said, "Let's take a walk around the block." Her eyes widened. "Are you sure?" I smiled, more than I've ever been. As we walked, the cool air brushed against my skin. The trees swayed gently, and for the first time in months, the ground felt steady beneath my feet. Not because the world had changed, but because I had. I realized something that day. Aging doesn't mean losing yourself. It just means listening closer, caring deeper, and never giving up on the simple miracles your body can still do. So if you're out there feeling unsteady, afraid, or unsure, don't ignore it. Sometimes the body isn't breaking down. It's simply asking for what it's been missing. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find your balance again, just like I did. My name is George, I'm 72, and I got my life back one step at a time.